Okay, task remove caliper assembly, inspect for leaks, damage to caliper housing, and determine necessary action. This is a front brake caliper. To remove it, you take these two pins out on this Chevrolet. This one and this one. So, pins come out. Pin 1, pin 2. Pull the housing off, the caliper housing. Make sure you don't let it hang from the hose. It says to check the housing for damage, particularly the piston right here and the seal for leaks. If it's not damp or wet, the seal doesn't look bad, pushed out too far, the seals and the piston are probably good. If you are taking a car apart and you find that one side, this piston is way out here and the other side, the piston's way in, you need to replace the calipers because one of the two pistons is stuck. The next task says to clean and inspect caliper mounting, slides, pins for wear, operation, and damage. Determine necessary action. So this is one of the sliders. It slides into here, through here, and out the other end. So you need to check to make sure that it slides easily. This one obviously doesn't because I can't get it back out. So it's not sliding easily. And it seems to be mostly stuck at this end. This part slides back and forth. It doesn't slide easily. Then you need to take it out. Take it out, clean it, and it might need to be lubricated. A little bit of the white grease into the housing it fits onto. Remember that this grease is an enemy to the brakes if you get it on the pads. So if you get too much on there, I'm not going to pass you off. Wiping the excess grease off. Make sure that the slide now slides in freely. Remember that the other end was stuck also. A little bit of white grease on there. Put the pin in. Get it so it slides easily. Wipe off any excess grease. The caliper also slides on this part. Make sure there's no damage to it, and if it needs to have a little tiny bit of grease, put a tiny dab of grease on it. We're talking tiny, tiny, small amounts. If I come over here and it's got lots and lots of grease on it, that's not a pass. The next task is to remove, inspect, replace the pads, retaining hardware, determine necessary action. So you're going to take the pads out. You're going to inspect them to see how much wear is left on them. These pads are obviously really good. There's a lot of wear left on them. Whenever the pad gets down so that it's close to the thickness of the metal here, it's worn out. It says to remove the retaining clips. This is one of the retaining clips. Pop it off. Show them what you're doing. Make sure to put it back on correctly. These Chevrolet ones just snap into place. Then it's reinstall the pads. Remove and reinstall rotor. Take a pair of diagonal cutting pliers and remove the cotter pin. Take a pair of channel lock pliers and remove the nut. Hello. You ready? Okay, take the nut off. Take the outer bearing and washer off. Washer. The bearing. Note that they go small side in. And put the nut back on. Grab the rotor, and we're going to pull out and down in one quick motion. Bearing came off, seal came off. Take your nut back the rest of the way off. Okay. Normally you pack these bearings. We're going to just put them back in right now for this part of the demonstration. Bearing goes in, small side in. Seal goes on. Tap the seal in place. Rotor goes back into place. Small bearing goes back on, small side in. Washer. Nut. Tighten it down. Rotate, snug. Shouldn't be loose back and forth. Install a new cotter pin. Take the cotter pin, bend it up. Over, smash it down, cut this end off, cut this end off. Install the dust cap, except this one doesn't have one. Pause. Make sure the rotor does not have any grease on it. If it has grease on it, it's a fail. Grease is not a friend to brakes. Then it says to reassemble, lubricate, reinstall caliper, pads, and related hardware, seat pads, and inspect for leaks. caliper on the housing over the rotor. We've already lubricated all the pins. Push the pins back in. And then tighten the pins back up. Pause. Make sure that the pins are tight. I will check.